Eragon jolted upright as a growl sounded in his ear. Book 1, Eragon. Chapter 51, The Glory of Tronjheim, and Chapter 52, Ajihad. Welcome to Eragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Paolini's inheritance cycle, chapter by chapter. I'm Darien Smart.
And I'm Lucy Hart.
And Eragon woke up again.
And Eragon woke up again.
And that's fine. And
That's
we just,
fine.
you know our feelings, and it's fine, and we're not going to get into it.
Don't have to dive too much into it. At this point, everyone knows. At this point,
it's fine. Lucy, do you have a spark of inspiration?
Yes. I feel like it might be a little egotistical, but
do it.
My spark of inspiration, kind of when we were chatting. So a new book just got released on the 8th.
Nice.
As we're recording this, that was last week.
Let's say yes.
Yeah, last week. It was released on October 8th. Let's just say that. Released on October 8th, and it's called The Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, okay, you're done talking.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to go.
Okay.
I wasn't going to dive in. That's not my thing.
Okay, egotistical. Okay, now I know what you're
Yeah,
going to say.
so
But I was
we
like,
were-
no,
we
I
were-
haven't started
No,
it yet.
no. We're not going to do that. So
Okay.
we were just chatting like, oh my gosh, it got released. Like, we're super excited because like we were talking about how we really want to read this when it was
It
released.
got
and so we've
promoted
been
to me on
waiting.
Instagram, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
it's weird, and it's holiday, and it's gay.
Yeah,
Lucy,
and
I have
so-
terrible news. We're gonna have
And
to
we're
read
gonna
this
have to
book.
read this book. So it finally got released, and we were like, "Oh hell yeah!" And it kind of brought up this idea that I had thought for a while, where I'm like, "Wouldn't it be cool to have like a book club to like talk, just like friends talk about books and stuff?" And wouldn't that be cool? So I actually finally did that. I put together a Discord, and I got some friends together, and now I started a book club.
Let's
and
start a book club.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like an inspiration geode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like my reading, I was doing really good at the beginning of the year where I'm reading a new book every month. But that kind of crashed during the summer. And so
Your
now
summer
I'm-
got busy.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, y'all, it was weird. Work was crazy and it wasn't great. But so now I'm like, oh, it'll be kind of cool to have this book club that hopefully will get me back into like listening to new books.
Yeah.
now. And it'll also help me, I think, encourage to being like, oh, if I listen to this new book, I can actually talk to people about it and just be like, wasn't this cool?
Socialize.
Or like, wasn't this awful? Or XYZ kind of thing. So I did that, and I'm very excited, and I'm actually kind of happy with how I set up the Discord. I got
It's
like
very
different
good.
channels, and I got like I was listening to it last night when I was playing Stardew Valley, and I was like
Mood.
I was in the spoilers, and I was just like
I
chapter
noticed
X,
this-
and I had
yeah,
it
and I'm like,
blanked out, and I was like
nice.
chapter this blanked out. 'cause
Very
I was
good
like,
way to
holy shit.
distinguish the spoilers.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
Yes, so I'm like if you read through chapter 4, you can look at this, or if you read through chapter this, you can read this.
Is okay.
Go
No
ahead.
spoilers.
Yes.
Is it fun though? Are we gonna have fun? Okay, never mind. Moving on.
I don't want to go.
No,
too
never
deep
mind.
into it.
Moving on.
What was really cool, or actually really upsetting, or a little frustrating, because I was like listening to it, and then there was a line. I don't remember the fucking line, but I was like, that's like, it was like really stupid. I'm like, that's like one of the hottest lines I've ever fucking heard. And then I was like wanting to put it in chat, but I'm like, I don't want to be spoiler. And then it was later on till another thing came on. I'm like, I want to talk about this, but no one's read this yet. I'm just gonna make a spoiler thing. And then I tried to go back and tried to find that line again, and I can't, and I'm very upset. So I might have to re-listen to the book
Oh,
once I
no.
finish it
How sad.
to find that one line. It was like really stupid. I'm not gonna go like any more deep into that because I know spoilers.
No
But I was
spoilers.
just like, oh my god.
I also I did it through Libby, so I have the ebook version already.
Yeah.
But the audiobook version I'm not gonna get. It says less than 3 weeks, and there are 2 copies in rotation, and I am third in line.
Yeah.
So I could get it as soon as like tomorrow. I
Yeah.
feel like if these folks go through it quick. So
Yep.
we'll see. And I'm like, I could
It's
just
only
read
12 hours, I think.
it. Yeah, it's
a
not very. And I
long.
listen at 2 times speed, so
Yeah.
I'll be done in a day.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could just start it now, and I'm like, I know I'm not though. I'm not gonna sit down and read it on my phone. I realize I don't particularly like ebooks.
Yeah.
I don't like the screen aspect of it. Like I will resist an ebook.
Yeah.
Because I don't enjoy the experience as much as an audiobook or a
Yep.
book. And that's not a knock on it. It's just a total me thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm a little bit like, well, should we explain what this is? And I'm like, when we're both done, we're probably going to be like, this is our sparks of inspiration.
Yeah, right.
So very well could be in a couple of
episodes where we talk about it.
This spooky Halloween. It's okay. It's Christmas and Halloween. So even if we're talking about it later,
yep,
it's fine.
it'll be fine.
But you started a book club,
I did.
Luce.
And it's what I wanted it like super chill and no pressure, because I know it's like, oh God, I have like 2 weeks to read this. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm making it like every 2 months. Like we get a book and then 2 months later we talk about it.
I love
that gives everybody plenty of time to read it or reread it or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And then like make notes if they want to make notes or whatever, and then we can talk about it.
Nice.
So it's like that means we're going to talk about it in December, which I feel is very fitting.
Yeah, perfect.
So-
Everyone starts reading come October.
Yeah.
Speaking to
So it's very good. I'm very excited. And I was like, I wanted to do that for a while. So I'm hoping it goes well. If it kind of peters out, that's okay. I'm like, for me, as long I'm like, oh, I did it. And that's cool for me. And hopefully it'll boost back my reading that I so desperately want to. I was very also happy about how many people were like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Well, that's awesome. Liz, I'm
Yes,
really
thank
proud of
you.
you. Honestly, I had no idea this was a thing that was even like something
was
you
like-
wanted to do.
It
So
was
that's
like
so cool
bouncing
that you pulled
around
the trigger
for a
and
while.
did it.
So yeah, I was
Nice.
happy.
So my spark of inspiration is a horror book.
Oh.
So after The Only Good Indians, and then all of a sudden, I'm not into horror. I
Yeah.
don't really like horror, but the previous title was something recommended by favorite listener Curtis Moore.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that sounds super cool. And this book that I just listened to is by queer writer Adam Sass, and it is called Your Lonely Nights Are Over.
Ooh.
And I was introduced to this book because Sass was a guest on Podcast The Ride, which
Oh,
is my
cool.
favorite podcast.
Yeah.
And he was on last year right before this book came out. And I'm like, oh, I wanna listen to it. And I just didn't.
Yeah.
And so he was actually on it again this past week.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hey, yay. I'm so glad you were on and reminded me that I want to listen to your book.
Yeah.
And it was specifically during October, where my
Yeah.
ability to handle spooky stuff increases slightly. But it is about these two best friends, Cole and Deary,
Mm-hmm.
who are they're both gay boys, and they're in high school. They're seniors about to graduate, and they used to be part of their school's like LGBTQ club,
Yeah.
but they're not anymore because there was just like drama in the club, and they just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And they're
Yeah.
like hot and they're popular, and like other members of the club aren't, so they don't like them.
Yep.
So Cole and Deary refer to them as the flops,
Yep.
right? And they're just like kind of catty high schoolers and stuff.
Yeah.
But when all of a sudden members of the flops are getting death threats
Uh-oh.
that are reminiscent of an old unsolved serial killer from the 70s
Oh no.
that just reignited public interest due to a Netflix true crime documentary about the events.
Oh no.
And then Cole and Deary are blamed for it because they're like,
Ooh.
well, it was well known you didn't like them, and so they kind of have to solve the murders
Yeah.
in order to prove that they're not the ones doing
it. Yeah.
and also make sure they're not going to be the ones who are killed next.
Yep.
And that sounds it's interesting because Sass talked about how they really were going for like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, R.L. Stein, Fear Street. That was the
Mhm.
series, the horror series he wrote for like high schoolers and stuff, like that kind of like retro slasher feeling, but set in the modern era. Like literally, they are modern high school students. They have social media, they have phones
Yeah.
and stuff, and I liked that because I feel like a lot of media that I've encountered that wants to be reminiscent of that era
Yeah.
doesn't know how to do it with a modern teen, so they
Yeah.
just drop them back into that era, which I
Yeah.
don't think is inherently bad because it's really them just doing their childhood again.
Yeah.
But I think what made it really remarkable was the fact that he proved, no, you could do that. You
Yeah.
can have these like vibes that we liked, this like Pulp Fiction-y
Yeah.
vibes, and also they're modern teens. And I
Yeah.
thought he did a really good job. And there's just a spectrum of queer kids and a bunch of different personalities.
Oh, cool.
And I listened to it all in one go.
Oh, good.
I needed to go to bed about 2 hours before I was done. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, I need to hear
to
it again.
finish this.
I
Yeah.
need to know if I'm right. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I think I know who it is. And I was right.
Oh, excellent.
But that didn't make it any less satisfying. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't feel like, well, I saw that coming from a mile away. And maybe
Yeah.
it would for other people. But I thought it was like, I was like, okay, this is the mystery. And I figured it out. And I was totally right. And it's exactly, but it didn't feel like, how do I want to, so my spark of inspiration, one, this book was super fun.
Yeah.
It is slashery, and so a lot of characters do die. Most of them die off screen, though you do encounter, like, their body afterwards.
Yeah.
And that is a bummer. And
Yeah.
it is, you know, if that's not your vibe, I would not recommend. Like, I would not recommend this to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you would have fun
No.
with those instances. There are other parts of the book that are very, very fun.
Yeah.
But the slasher horror of it is not going to be for
Yeah,
everyone.
no.
But if you're hearing the description, you're like, I think I would like that. It's such a fun read.
Yeah.
But the way Sass does the mystery is you're in it for a while and you're like, I kind of honestly right out the gate, I was like, yeah, it's this character. And then stuff happens. We're like, ooh, no, hold on. It's not. What's going on here? And then X things happens. And I'm like, no, I think I was right from the jump. Like, I think it's this character and I think it's this, when this is what they did and this is how they did it. And I was right.
Yeah.
But that, like I said, it made it no less satisfying, which I think is something that Sass probably was like, oh, where? Like, readers are going to figure it out. Because your readers are not, like, the characters haven't figured it out yet, but the characters don't have all of the things that the reader gets. And so, basically, it's a thing I think we've talked about regarding plot twists, where if you feel like I have to trick my reader, and if they figured it out, then I failed.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't so obvious.
Yeah.
But it was, like, satisfying to know I got it.
Yeah.
Like, I solved the mystery. And so, I think my spark of inspiration was, like, there are things in my own draft that I'm like, I'm worried this is too obvious. Like, is it not satisfying if you know it the whole time?
Yeah.
And at least in the way Sass wrote his book, no, it was satisfying even though I was right from literally the jump. Because the rest of the pieces around it were so good and so compelling. And the journey to the conclusion was so good.
Yeah.
So my spark is, like, not overthinking it.
Yeah.
Not trying to make myself more clever than I need to be.
Agreed. And it's also, like, something that's really obvious to, like, the writer might not be so obvious to the reader as well.
Yeah, especially it's like, it's so obvious. I'm in it. I've been in it from the jump. I knew it from before I wrote it down. It's like, yeah, but, like, even if a reader's like, I think it might be this.
Yeah.
For them to be like, oh, I was right. Like, felt good. Because I was like, I think it might be this. But there were times where I was like, I could be wrong. I think it might be this, but I could be wrong. So, yeah. Anyway.
Very good.
Your lonely nights are over. Definitely fun. The other layers of messaging about, like, the nature of relationships, romantic and friendships, and especially, like, queerness and what makes, quote, a bad queer and stuff like that, and who belongs in our community and stuff like that. Very good.
Oh,
very good book. And he's written other stuff, and I am absolutely going to jump right in.
Ooh.
All right, let's do it. We haven't done 2 chapters in an episode for a while.
No, we haven't. And before we start, synopsis.
Oh, shit. Lucy, I didn't write them. I totally forgot. Damn it. Okay.
No, but I'm like, we didn't read them last time, so now I was like, well, remember to do it this time.
Oh, no. Okay, listeners, just give us 1 second. The Glory of Tronjheim. Eragon, Saphira, and Murtagh are paraded through the Varden's hideout, which turns out to be the dwarven city of Tronjheim. The people, human and dwarves, appear withdrawn, but hopeful at the appearance of a rider and dragon. Eventually, the party arrives at the door of Ajihad, the mysterious leader of the Varden. And then I'll do, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ajihad. Ajihad is one cool dude.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm like, yes, sorry. Please continue.
Was I wrong?
No.
Though the leader of the Varden is deeply concerned by Murtagh's presence, he respects Murtagh's refusal of the mind probe. Out of concern that Varden secrets could end up in Galbatorix's hands, Murtagh is taken away, leaving Saphira and Eragon to discuss matters with Ajihad. They learn more about the various factions at play, the elves and the dwarves, Arya's mission, the Shade threat, and the Kulls amassing to attack. Ajihad urges Eragon to recognize the expectations the people will have for him as a rider, but also to maintain his freedom. Then, to, quote, punish Ulrich for his insubordination, the dwarf is assigned to watch Eragon and Saphira during their time with the Varden.
Yep. Very cool. I like it. Do we want to first talk about Tronjheim?
I was about to say, like, okay, so Lucy, so how is the name of this dwarven city pronounced in the audiobook?
In the audiobook and Audible, it is pronounced Tronjheim.
Yes.
Tronjheim.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Heim.
Yep. And so usually, 9 times, like almost basically every time I've been like, how do we pronounce a thing? We
Yeah.
refer to the way it is pronounced in the audiobook.
Audiobook.
Because last episode, Lucy's like, hey, there's a glossary.
Yeah, there is a glossary.
But the glossary does not come with a pronunciation guide.
I think it...
Oh, it does.
It does.
Oh, it is Tronjheim. You're right, in the pronunciation. I was looking at the ancient language stuff doesn't, but yes. So, it is supposed to be pronounced Tronjheim. And I have decided, no. I'm not going to do that. Much like GIF and GIF, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm not going to do that for this specific instance is because the words that are being put together for this place is so very clearly the reference to Trojan, Troy, and then the Old Norse word for home, which is pronounced Heim.
Yep.
Like Jotunheim,
Yep.
Alfheim.
Yep.
Like they are pronounced Heim, they're not pronounced Heim.
Yep.
And Tronj is not the way you pronounce Trojan.
Yep.
So, and that's very clearly the way you see it is almost exactly Trojan.
Yeah.
But off and then Heim.
Yep.
So it is an intentional like, well, here's the way the thing is pronounced. Okay, fine. But I won't do that here. And that is actually consistently the EI in other words, like treem is treem, not terim.
Oh,
And I don't know what that is. I'm just looking at the pronunciation guide. So, yeah, terim. But it's pronounced, it's T. Yeah, the pronunciation would have it the same as him.
Yep.
So, like, there is a consistency in the way that, like, EI in this world is meant to pronounce E and not, like, him, not Heim.
Not the German pronunciation. Or
yes.
in German, if it's EI, you pronounce the I, not the E in a word.
So it's the rules of Germanic language in this case. Which Nordic, I think, is a Germanic language.
I think it's at least at some point derived from Germanic.
Yeah,
so.
Like English is a Germanic language.
Yes.
So, yes, that's the way it should be pronounced. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm
fair.
just like, listened, because I've clocked the two mythological references that are being put together in this moment for this thing, and I'm not gonna let you try to hide it, Paulini. I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you try to hide the fact that you are referencing Troy and once again pulling a J.R.R. Tolkien on our let's reference Norse.
Yeah.
And just no.
Yep.
So, I'm going to pronounce it that way. Lucy's going to pronounce it the way that's supposed to be pronounced. That's the way it's going to run it. And you know what?
That's
if
fine.
It bothers y'all enough, feel free to let us know. That's totally fine. I mean, I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
Every listener could complain, and I'm still going to pronounce it Tronjheim. But I'm offering you the opportunity, like, please submit your complaints, and we want you to feel heard.
Yeah.
It's not going to change the way I'm going to pronounce this word, but, like, because that's the reason I'm going to do it.
Yep.
I'm just not going to let I'm not going to let this one get away.
Fair enough.
Because I like it. But the other thing is, like, it's not like me, like, I want to call him out and put him on blast. I genuinely like the way that there's decisions. Like, it is the reference to Troy, the great city of the Iliad.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Auric... Oh, I think it's after these two is when we get more, like, background of the city.
Yes.
So I guess I'll, like, say that. But, like, we understand it's, like, when you recognize what the reference is, it gives you more insight into what this place is meant to represent.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's the reason we've combined these two chapters, because they're both, like, the Ajihad chapter is pretty long.
Yeah.
But the Glory of Tronjheim isn't short.
Yeah.
But it is mostly just describing.
Which is, like... what I like about it, and I feel like I remember Tronjheim from when I first read it.
Yeah.
Back, like, years and years and years ago. Like, that was like, oh, we're going to reread this book. Tronjheim was, like, the first image that popped in my head because it was so, like, descriptive in a way that is awe-inspiring. Like, holy shit, this place is so cool. I'm still, like, I even re-listening to it, I'm, like, I'm still fuzzy on the exact, like, where things are. Yeah. But I'm still very much like, okay, there's like, I mean, there's a big diamond somewhere, and there's also like a dragon roost somewhere, and then there's also a city somewhere, but there's also like open fields as well around this area. And then there's a big hole, like,
because it's a dead volcano.
Yeah, it's a dead volcano, and there is a hole like thousands and thousands and thousands of feet up. because they're in the Bjor Mountains, and they proved like the Bjor Mountain peaks are like almost impossible to reach. Like,
yeah,
I
Eragon
don't
even thinks about. He's like, I know from experience we can't reach
that. Yeah, and I'm like, isn't that really cool, interesting too? Because if like they tried to fly up to that opening, would they also lose air? It's
Probably.
like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, you
like
couldn't get up there.
that's so wild. I also had an image of a giant circle of sun just kind of passing across the
about the way the
ground
light,
every day. Just as
yeah.
the sun goes, this beam of light just either goes from the top, hits the ground, or like across
It probably
the wall.
like moves
Yeah.
down and up.
Yeah.
So you have that like that
Interesting.
feeling of the cycle of the day, because
Yeah.
even though it doesn't look, because he describes like there's the beam of light and then
Yeah.
everything else is like in twilight,
Yeah.
because it's the way the light works.
Yep.
But you would still see, like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, really cool how it's
And-
described.
And so when we use like the reference of like Troy's this great walled city
Yep.
that for 10 years all the armies of Greece could not take.
Yep.
They could not take the city. They lost their greatest warriors trying to take this city, and they couldn't do it. They
Yep.
were never going to be able to take the walls of Troy.
Yep.
The only reason they won is because Odysseus got sneaky,
Yep.
and they got into the city by
Yep.
pretending to surrender
Yep.
and use deceit, and the only way they would do it was from the inside. So it communicates instantly that this is a safe harbor.
Yeah.
Like, this is a safe space. Like, famously Troy fell,
Yeah.
but not from an assault from the outside. That's even better. Oh, because in the Ajihad one, he talks about how he thinks there's traitors in their
Yeah.
midst. And so that even does more
It like
to
double downs on it. Absolutely.
on the fact that we
'Cause
do not. Yeah.
I was just gonna add, because it's Troy's like this walled city, and it's like, so is Tronjheim with these natural walls
Mhm.
from that, and it's almost, and I think like even like later, we're kind of jumping around a little bit here.
That's why we
but-
read both of them.
Yeah, but this is like one of the things that Ajihad mentions, or is it Ajihad or is it Auric that mentions that nobody knows, like the king knows where the Varden is but doesn't know where Tronjheim is. I think that might be Auric who says that.
I don't know, because he says the same thing about the elves being in Duwald and Varden. Like,
Yeah.
he says that, yeah, the king knows they're in the forest, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know where it's
they are.
at.
Yeah.
So
I
he
can't
could have said
remember.
a very similar thing about, like, they know it's in the mountains, but they don't know where it's
Yeah.
at.
So I don't know. So if you keep all that in, listeners,
I think it will.
listeners, sorry if we're kind of jumping ahead there. We read 4 chapters to
Mm-hmm.
do 2 episodes, so details of conversations might be a little fuzzy there.
Mhm.
But yes.
But yeah, I think and then the connection of Troy also being like the only thing that'll take it down is something from the inside. And so
And then
Ajihad
Ajihad
referencing he thinks there might be a traitor
Traitors.
or traitors.
Traitors, exactly.
And I was like, I wonder who the traitors are. Traitors plural, you said? 2 you said? 2 at least you said? Interesting.
We don't know that for sure.
We don't
though.
know that, but here's the other problem is that, like, no, we don't know that for sure. But I don't trust the twins.
Yeah.
Who now we have referenced that they are in fact twins and they have no names.
And one of the biggest, can I see the book really quick? There's a line.
which
I
half?
forgot my book.
I know it. Yeah, I know.
The witch half.
book.
You gotta upload a picture of your halved book.
Oh,
I think that's funny.
I think I've taken a picture of it a couple times and then never actually got to the point where I post it. I'll do it this time. I'll do it when this episode drops.
It's great. Let me think. Where do you talk about traitors, my guy? Ajihad is just so fucking cool.
He's so cool.
He's
Okay,
so
so while you're
cool.
looking for that, I was just like, let's just talk about Ajihad and how
Yeah.
instantly cool he is.
One
like-
of the
Yeah, here we go.
one of the well, no, I didn't find it, but I'm like, one of the things before we get too far into it is the very beginning of the Glory of Tronjheim, the twins force Eragon not to ride Saphira, and then they force him to get on Saphira to show him off.
Yeah, that's why.
And I like that is so messed up and makes me like
It
not
is-
like them even more, because they're like, you can't ride Saphira, we don't trust you. But in front of the people,
Yeah,
it's just
like it's very
fuck
much like
off.
that's why in the description I said they were paraded through, because they were like initially like, here are your horses, and Eragon goes to get on Saphira, and the bald man is like, no, you cannot ride her, and he's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when they get to the part where they're about to go through where all these people are at, they're like, okay, get on her, but we're watching you, and literally it's like show off, like Eragon's like, what do I do? And she's like, smile, wave, and he's
do
like,
something.
okay, and he like waves his hand. hand and no one responds.
Jerky, yeah, he's real jerky about it, and there's no response.
And he's just like, I wish I was invisible. And then Saphira like blows smoke, and everyone's like, ooh.
Yeah. I also like the fact that he's in that scene. He walks into Tronjheim and, like us, was just blown away by, like, holy cow, this place is so cool. And then he looks down and all the people are just silently watching him. And it's just, oh shit. And I'm like, this is a farm boy. He has never been in front of this many people at all. He also spent the last several months running from being in attention. So now suddenly he's in hundreds of people in dwarves like eyesight, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, just the focus on him. But I really love Saphira blowing the smoke and like showing off. Like Saphira deserves this. Like this is the first time she's gotten to be in front of people and they are admired. She's a dragon. Dragons are vain.
Yeah.
Like she is living it up.
She's like, yes,
yes, this is exactly how it should have been. I should be able to walk through any place and get adoration.
Yeah.
Like this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I also like how she balances Eragon in that where Eragon shies away from center stage, she's just like, I'll take it.
Yeah,
like,
I'll lean into it.
I'll do it.
And then I think that her confidence goes on to Eragon because that's what the people are going to remember. Like he's like, oh, I don't like this, but they're seeing him, but they're gonna be focused on the dragon.
So,
and
I mean, she's hard to, she's big blue.
Even all the guards are a little bit like, you want me to what? The dragon? I don't know about that, man.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, as soon as they're away from the people, they're like, okay, get back on your horse. That's like this control the bald man wants over Eragon.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what's like, that's the thing.
Makes
that's
me
why
mad.
I'm very, it's very mad. It's very gross. It's like more of like, I don't like you. And I'm not supposed to. Like, you're power hungry. Like, you're very clearly manipulative and controlling, which is why I'm like, oh, yeah, Ajihad straight up said he thinks there's traitors. I bet it's those two. Like, I'm very comfortable being like, yeah, those two.
It's like, I don't trust them, so they're kind of in the spotlight right now.
Even Ajihad is, when Murtai's like, we'll get into this in a second, but he's like, I'm not going to let anybody get in my head, least of all those two. Ajihad seems like, yeah, for sure, man.
He actually gets like a bit of like, he respects him. He's
Absolutely.
He's like, all right, this is a man who has values and won't back down from them, and I have to respect that.
But also the fact that Murtag's like, but those two least of all, specifically them. And Ajihad's like, yeah. And we find, okay, this is not these chapters. Okay, later on, I'll pin in it for next episode. But did you find the?
Yes, I did. I found the line just like as we're talking about this. So he kind of mentions the traitor or traitors, but then the following line is what kind of snags me. Is I'm afraid that we have a traitor or traitors in our midst, despite our efforts to examine people's minds for deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you having exam minds again?
Yeah, who would be the ones that would be able to?
I just flung your bookmark out.
I don't know where we're at.
Sorry. But it was like, for me, that was like it's almost, I remember like watching, I think it was Monk. Like, I don't know if you ever remember, like,
I didn't watch it, but I know
detective show Monk. Yeah. So like there's an episode, I believe it's Monk, where this dude ends up dying or gets murdered, and they're trying to figure out like who done it, and they've realized that there's only one person, because like it's a wedding, so everyone is there is getting their pictures taken, and then they realize there's only one person who will not show up in any of the pictures, and it's the photographer. And it was the photographer who done it, and like he was gonna get away with it. Monk's kind of like, I know exactly how to blah 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 blah, because Monk is Monk, but it's very it was just really cool. So that kind of brought up my mind. It's like, well, who are they not? It's like, who's the photographer in this like scenario? It's the twins. And so it's just like, it does definitely, I think, just like the little snippets that we've gotten of the twins so far, it does make, I feel like it would make the reader suspicious of the twins regardless of how
much they may have read.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also that line we clocked when the bald man told Auric that Eragon is not his enemy.
His enemy. And he's like, not your enemy. And it's like, what was that line about?
Our enemy.
Our enemy. But then he also later on does refer to like the Varden as R. And so it's like, that's really interesting that you did that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we don't like the twins.
No. They're already suspicious. We suspect them. Suspicious.
Suspicious. Oh, we got to clock. Ajihad's the first black person we've met.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and okay, you could say, well, we don't know that. We don't know everybody's skin color, but Ajihad's the first person whose skin color has been described. Which does communicate white as default.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a thing that white authors, white authors have to be aware of when we tell stories, is that it is often we do white as default, as well as like male as default and straight as default and cisgender as default. And so we won't describe those things about a character unless they are not of that default. And then we describe it. And in this case, Ajihad's description is great.
Oh, I love it.
He's described, we get that he is a black man, and he's described as having mahogany skin. Which I think is a really solid description, especially because it's not food.
Yes. I'm like, it's not chocolate, which is
chocolate.
Good job, 15-year-old Paolini.
Yeah, like that is the thing.
Like writing this in the 90s. Well done.
Yeah. Like I think that is a thing that we shouldn't have to be like, don't do that now. But some writers will still do that. Don't ever describe food as being like a color.
Also like just women in general as well. Like,
especially because it exotifies and the reason you don't do that is because it exotifies in a bad way and it fetishizes. There are so many other ways you can describe skin color. There are great resources that writers and creators of color and Black quotes have put together to so just like there's at this day and age with tons of resources, no reason to ever describe someone as having a mocha espresso complexion. Just like don't do that. And he doesn't. And I think Ajihad is very noble. He describes like he's like bald and he's shaven, but he's has
got
like
this neatly trimmed beard.
We get a character who we are meant to understand is very like self-possessed, very powerful, immediately demanding of respect.
And attention in the room. Like he draws all attention to
the clothing he wears is like purple and gold.
Which is also like, for me, I'm like, that's like, for me, I actually kind of laughed a little bit when I listened to that because I'm like, as a 15-year-old, you're taught that like, oh, like purple and gold, like that's royalty.
That's royalty.
And so like the fact that he's wearing purple and gold, I was like, that's such, like, I'm not, no bashing here at all, but I'm like, that's such a 15-year-old thing to write about because I'm like, I would do that. But I'm also like, it's not just 15-year-old like that.
But that is like it's a culture, it's a Western cultural signifier, royal purple and gold. Because we know this man is the leader of the Varden. Like he is in charge. Because it also then we remember clocking what the twins or the bald man was wearing. And how we're also like, why are you dressed so regally? That adds more to like the way the twins have positioned themselves is and they are the way the man has like dressed himself in a way that was like similar to the way the leader of the Varden has dressed does suggest that they view themselves as being incredibly
high up. Exactly.
So it's interesting. But Ajihad is great.
Good job, Paolini, just like tying those threads together and just those subtle hints just through clothing. Like that's so good. Like again, not trying to bash or anything, but I'm just like, no, that's such a good way to like show rank, but then also show how the twins vibe. So absolutely.
I want to read what Murtagh says to Ajihad.
Oh yeah,
about
that because like that's like again, like we've been jumping around a lot in this episode, but one of the big things, one of the good things that I like is his interaction with Murtagh. Whereas the moment
it's a complete 180 to the bald man's interaction with Murtagh.
Absolutely. And also like you're like, what the fuck, twins? Because they're like, you kept that from me? Like they're keeping information from
Yeah.
Because what I find fascinating is that Murtagh speaks and Ajihad instantly, he's like, I've heard that voice before. And it's like, doesn't that fucking suck? Like Murtagh does
even his voice, like
he probably hates that so much. And that's like a full like, because he's like, everyone's gonna recognize me, and we were like, how are they gonna recognize you if you don't do anything? And then Ajihad instantly knows, and then he goes like, that's another thing that like fucking sucks is he tells Murtagh to like, take your tunic off, let me see your back, and then he's like, Murtagh just fucking knows it.
I also love like with a shrug, Murtagh's like, all right, whatever, and sees the scar.
My big thing too is I'm like, if Ajihad is aware that, I mean, this point is arguable as well, but if Ajihad knows that Morzan gave Murtagh that scar, it's like, why would you think that Murtagh would side with that? But it's also like Murtagh's stayed in Galbatorix's court forever, like forcefully. He
Yeah, he
had
had
nowhere else. There's literally nowhere else he could have gone at that point.
Yeah,
and even
Morzan
running
died.
away,
His mother died.
Yeah,
like,
and
there
it's
was
like
nowhere
even
he could go. He
even,
was like 4 when his parents were both gone.
Absolutely, and then like also like running away proved deadly. So it's like there's really no point where he could have gone. And so it's like, even like, I'm like, how would, like, if I saw that, I'm like, oh, you don't owe loyalty to the person that gave you that scar. But I'm like, you got it when you were really young and you were susceptible to Galbatorix's influence for most of your life. So it's like,
And we even, when in the previous chapter where Murtagh tells Eragon about when he dined with Galbatorix and he gave him that whole pitch, he did say, I swore fealty. Like, he does
I was influenced by him.
So that's still like, in this, and the fact that, here's the thing, like, I have 3 brothers. None of them sound like my dad. And they're all adult men now.
Yeah.
None of them sound like my dad. Like, so they look like my dad in different ways, but none of them sound like my dad. So the fact that Murtagh's voice sounds exactly like Morzan's, I'm not saying that's like a bad choice. I'm just saying, damn, that sucks. It ties him to him so.
Absolutely.
But I also love how he realizes it's Murtagh and he, like, spins on, without warning, Ajihad had turned on the twins and thundered. Did you know of this?
Yep. And, like, they did.
They said, we discovered his name in Eragon's mind, but we did not suspect that this boy was the son of one as powerful as Mors. I don't know why I'm giving him the voice of the Razak here.
I mean,
but
fair.
Like, that's the vibe I'm getting. It never occurred. What do you mean it never occurred? Like, he's just like, Ajihad's not having it. And he says basically, he's like, you're refusing. And Murtagh's like, I'm not going to let anyone in my mind. And he is like, just, he's being so upfront. He's like,
he's being honest.
Unless they can verify you're not a threat, yes, you've given Eragon assistance and that's great. But like, the people will tear you apart as soon as they learn who you are.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to keep you confined at all time for your protection as well as like our own.
And Murtagh drops the best fucking line.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to?
I can read it.
Yeah.
Because he's like,
so
you know, like, we're gonna have to keep you confined, like kind of what you said.
Yeah, he like gives them straight up like, here is what like, I like how, because the twins are like, we're just gonna do this and you have to, or but Ajihad's like just straight up like, here's what's gonna happen. Like, if we can't verify, you're gonna have to be like basically treated like a prisoner here the whole time.
Yep. And then I'm gonna read the last 2 sentences of Ajihad's argument, and then I'm gonna read Murtagh. So Ajihad says, it will only get worse once the dwarf king Hrothgar demands custody of you. Don't force yourself into a situation when it can easily be avoided. Murtagh shook his head stubbornly. No. Even if I were to submit, I would still be treated like a leper and an outcast. All I wish is to leave. If you let me do that peacefully, I'll never reveal your location to the Empire. And then Ajihad does say a good point where he's like, what will happen if you are captured and brought to Galbatorix? He will extract every secret from your mind, no matter how strong you may be. It's like, because it's like, if the one thing we do know about the king is that he's very, very powerful. Yeah. And then that even in the discussion with Ajihad, he does tell Eragon that every year he's getting stronger, which is really weird. Yeah. Because he shouldn't be. Because that's not how that works. And Galbatorix is like over a century old. Yeah. It's like he should not be getting stronger at this point. But no, so it's like, Galbatorix is a force to be reckoned with, no matter how strong you are. He will. And it's also like, he was able to, like, Murtagh described this earlier, where Galbatorix knew all of the inner workings and the thoughts of the 13. There is no way, no matter how strong, like, Murtagh is, that he will be able to keep him out. Like, it's not forever. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Especially with, like, again, like, I keep referring to age, and listeners, I apologize if that's really obnoxious, but like, all of the 13 had so much more experience and knowledge and with magic and everything, and they're not able to keep Galbatorix out. No. I do not think an 18-year-old will be able to do that, despite the very good
not able
training.
To keep up this like ancient, powerful dragon rider.
Absolutely.
No. Now, I like how Murtagh's like, "Are you going to keep me prisoner forever?" And he's like, "No. Like, if you're found trustworthy, the twins will just like remove the information from your mind. So even if you are captured by the king, you can't give anything away because they'll have erased it entirely. Like, it'll be gone. But that still requires letting the twins into his mind. And Eragon's out here being like, just give in. It's not worth the fight.
Yeah.
And I love what
Murtagh says. It's so good.
My mind is the one sanctuary that has not been stolen from me. Men have tried to breach it before, but I've learned to defend it vigorously, for I am only safe within my innermost thoughts. You have asked for the one thing I cannot give, least of all to those two.
Mm-hmm.
Do with me what you will, but know this. Death will take me before I expose myself to their probing. Admiration glinted in Ajihad's eyes. I'm not surprised by your choice, though I had hoped otherwise. And he calls for the guards and says,
I also think like having 6 guards guard Murtagh, I'm like, that seems a little overkill, but that's just me.
I think it's just like, because those were the 6 guards that were waiting outside anyway that escorted him through. I think like, I don't think Ajihad thinks that Murtagh needs, well, respectfully, I do think Murtagh needs 6 guards.
Yeah.
Like, I think we recognize Murtagh needs, like, he's not even armed. They don't they don't have their weapons, but I do think that, like, Murtagh needs 6 guards.
Yeah.
But I really like the admiration glinted in Ajihad's, because this is what I was talking about with the bald man, how when we first met this character and he was like, you have to let me probe you, I have to see that you're safe, like, it is antagonistic to our heroes, but when you, like, we very well could have seen it from this character's point of view, where they are like, I have to do this for the safety of me, my people, and our cause. And then the way it was written, we could tell very clearly that that was not this dude's problem. He's just about, like, the bald man is about the twins. They are about control, and they're awful. Ajihad is asking of Murtagh the same thing.
Yes.
But the fact that he's being super upfront and he's
being
explaining,
respectable,
like, here's the whole thing. Here's what's going to happen. Like, and he is like, he doesn't try to force. Yeah, because that's when Murtagh said no, the bald man still tried to force his way into his mind. Murtagh says no here, and Ajihad's like, all right, man. I gotta take you away.
Yeah,
like,
you're not allowed. I gotta lock you up. But
like I said, like, you are gonna be, like, contained, and also you're not allowed to hear more of this conversation.
Yes, exactly. Like, also, I just want to say we didn't touch on this. We do find out that the bald men are twins. Yes,
when he comes in. Oh my god, it is kind of funny.
Yeah,
when he first rolls up. A man stepped out from behind the staircase. He was identical to the bald man beside him. Eragon stared at the two with surprise, and Murtagh stiffened. Your confusion is understandable. They are twin brothers, said Ajihad with a small smile. I would tell you their names, but they have none.
Yep.
I do love to be like, whoa.
Like
whoa, twins?
There's 2? Oh, God,
there's 2. There's 2 of them.
There's fucking 2 of them.
They're twins, and they don't have names. That's worse.
Yeah, that's worse. Why do they not have names?
Why do they not have names? They're so weird.
Yeah,
like,
I
don't like it.
The way Paolini has written them, and we're beating a dead horse at this point, but the way Paolini has written them is so the reader does not like them in every aspect. Anyway.
Even as, like, listen, I kind of like the shade.
Yeah.
Like, I like his
as a
style.
Villain? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like, I'm into it. But, like, I don't like these
two.
Like,
no. I keep thinking of the android. Like, I just think 2 of those androids just hanging out. Anyway.
And here's the thing. You give me a pair of powerful, like, morally gray twins, like, I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
Like, but specifically, you give me a pair of powerful boy-girl twins, I'm all in on it. Like,
yeah.
Taco and Loop from the Adventure Zone. And also Android 17 and 18.
Yeah.
I was watching Dragon Ball GT. I think that's one. When they all team up and have to go fight for to keep all the realms from being erased by, like, the world kings or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm just, like, watching Android 17 and 18 together, and I'm like, hey, wait, are they, like, twins? Like, not just, like, they look like, are they canonically twins? And DJ's like, yeah, no, they're twins.
They're twins.
They're canonically twins. And I'm like, my favorite fictional sibling pair.
Yep.
Super powerful, sassy boy-girl twins.
Yep, it's very good.
So, but yeah, they're creepy. And then Murtagh is out. He kicks the twins out. Yep. Oryx's gone. It's just Ajihad, Aragon, and Saphira. And we get some good lore.
We get some really good lore. We get some
great lore.
We get a lot of, like, background info from Brom.
Mm-hmm.
We also get why Eragon found Saphira's egg, because Arya was we find out that
she's the egg courier.
She's the egg courier, and we find out that idea was brought around by Brom to appease both the Varden and the elves, because the elves want a elven rider and the humans want a human rider, obviously.
Because that's under the control. And it's more statistically likely that the rider will be an elf, because historically there have always been more elves as riders.
Yep.
The dwarves are not interested in having a rider, period, because they're like, look at what the trouble Galbatorix caused. Like, another dragon rider isn't going to fix this.
And even before that, Ajihad, and I really like this because we get a good dive into the dwarf history where otherwise we really didn't, where he explains that even before, riders were a thing, the dragons would hunt the dwarfs like flux and stuff, and I feel like we get a sense of like, oh, the dwarfs hold on to a grudge.
I think that's what he said. Like,
Yeah.
they hold on.
They hold on to a grudge, and so it's like that on top of look what a human writer has done so far. That's not great.
Yeah, because the dwarves are the dwarves and the dragons are the only indigenous races to Allegasia.
Yep.
The elves and the humans both came
And
from
orcs
and the orcs. Yeah,
Yep,
they all came from somewhere else.
Yep.
I forgot about the orcs. They all came from somewhere
Not
else.
orcs, Urgles. God damn
Damn it! Look what we did!
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
My brain was like, no.
Yeah.
I've been re-watching Lord of the Rings and
Oh,
The
interesting.
Hobbit the other day. Anyway, sorry.
So the dwarves and the dragons were on poor terms for a long time before the elves showed up and started causing problems. So there's also one thing to note, and I think it's probably something mentioned way before, but like especially we see now, there's never been a dwarven dragon rider.
Nope.
So, but there just hasn't. And so the dwarves are like, we don't really. So everyone has what they want. And so there was like a lot of tension on what are we going to do with this egg we've recovered. And like you said, Brom was the one that's like, okay, well, we'll just carry it back and forth between
For
the
a
Varden.
year, and all the children will be exposed to the egg.
And if it hatches, we'll know that the egg chose someone, and
Yeah.
then we'll figure out which kid was it.
Yep.
And so Arya's job was to be the one that ferried the egg back and forth.
forth.
And it sounds like she was in Duwelden Varden is the name of the forest where the elves live.
Yep, and if you look at the map...
And we look at the map. Let's look at the map.
Let's look at the map. You can see that Carvajal is close to the borders of Duwelden Varden.
Yeah, but the thing about that is like if we go to where we're at, like down here
Yeah.
in the Bior Mountains, the mountain they're in is called Farthendur.
Yeah, Farthendur.
And that's where Tronjheim is at.
Yep.
So if we see there are like it's close to like the border of the forest is close to Carvajal, but I'd probably argue Arya wasn't there because there's a part of the forest that's like down here. I would bet she just shot up to the nearest part.
Let me see.
Yeah. I would think she would have gone straight north to get into the woods as soon as possible and then would have been able to travel through the forest to try to get deeper into it.
So if she was so if we look at the map, and I'm going to keep this as non-spoilery as possible. If you just look at the map, there is this name here, Elismera, and it has like a big diamond on it. And now it's the same diamond that Urabane has it. So I'm like, okay, that's a capital. So if we think she was close to here, yeah, roughly in the middle of the forest, and then we look at Farthendur here. Yeah, right here. So this distance between Carvajal. The distance between is a lot. The Carvajal is closer to the assumedly capital of the elf people than to Farthendur. So it would make sense a little bit to why that is. Yeah.
I thought you meant she would have been on that side of the forest.
Yeah.
I was like, you're right. Yeah, so she's heading home.
Yeah.
And
she was either heading home or heading towards.
Yeah.
We're not sure on that.
Yeah.
But so then she tried to send. The only thing that popped into her head is what Ajihad is assuming is that because I also this was like a cool thing because I'm like, this goes way back to our first episode where we talked about how Ajihad says we're not going to know the full story of what happened until Arya awakens, and I'm like, we know
what happens. We're the readers. We got a little secret.
Yeah, we got that secret from the prologue, so we know exactly what happens. But he pretty much lays out, and you're like, yep, that's pretty much what happens. Yep, that's pretty much what happens. And so she thought of Brom and sent it to
because she was closer to Carvajal than she was.
And so she sent it to Carvajal.
And she couldn't send it to the elves because their whole place is warded. You can't send things through magic.
Yes.
So that's really smart. And that's great world building. And it's like, why didn't she just send it to the elves? She would have been closer. Well, you can't because magic. And that makes total sense. Like it's warded with magic. You can't just send stuff.
Absolutely.
So she sent it to Brom, and it's and as like Ajihad said, like it didn't go directly to Brom because it's an imprecise magic in general.
Yep.
Honestly, the fact that it ended up where anybody was at, fucking lucky.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it just
the dragon egg just didn't like stay in the icy mountains. Also,
can you imagine if she actually did get it to Brom and it just crash landed in the middle? in his house, or just the middle of Carvajal? Like, you're lucky that it ended up crashing in the mountains where only Aragon saw it. Like, that would have been such a big, like...
Man, can you imagine if Sloane had found it?
Yeah. Like, hey, Brom, why did your house blow up last night? I don't know, man. It's the weirdest thing.
I would think if the egg showed up, Brom would have just been like, I'll put that in a bag. He would have been gone. Like,
Yeah.
Brom, they would have thought maybe
That's
Brom
true.
died in the
died, and
explosion.
that's fair.
He honestly probably would have made it look like
I
he
was
died
gonna
in the
say he
explosion.
probably would have made it. Honestly,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
He wouldn't have, because he knew, like, well, the egg's here, the Razak might be coming. I got to make it look.
I
I gotta skip town.
Yeah,
so
that's
he would have
true.
been
That's
out
very
and
true.
gone, heading.
Absolutely.
I wonder where Brom. He probably would have headed to the elves.
Probably if they're
closer.
closer, he probably would have headed there. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wouldn't. Because what was it? They had to chase the Razak because that was the thing that was going to get Eragon to come with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Is they chase these.
They chased the Razak. Yeah. It
Oh.
would have been way smarter to go straight into the forest to get to the elves. It's so much closer than what they went through, but they did all of that specifically because
the Razak. But also, there's the addition where Ajihad explains that the new writer was going to train with Brom for a year before going to the elves. So I think like Brom, knowing that agreement was struck, it was like, okay, then I'm going to train Eragon, so I have to stick with him, and I guess that means chasing the Razak as well.
Yeah, this is what he's gonna want. So
absolutely,
this is the plan. Yeah. But we know, so they know what happened. The Varden know what happened because when we were in that port city with his buddy, that's when he sent the plan and sent the ring. Because we heard him like, bring the ring. They'll know it's from the queen. They'll know it's mine.
Yeah.
He does ask about Arya. Is she okay? No, but the healers tell me she will recover.
Yep.
So
I also really like that where it's like, oh, like she's not magically better.
No.
I like that because I feel like Paulini has a couple of times now has been like, oh, you don't just magically get better. Oh, this doesn't just naturally just go away. It's like, no, she was poisoned for a long fucking time and tortured for a long fucking time. She is not okay.
She's not okay.
She will recover.
Yes,
and I really appreciate that.
Like, she's not okay now, but she will get better. And again, like Ajihad being like upfront with Eragon.
Yeah, and it's also like, I keep referring back to like written in the 90s or so, but it's also like, therapy isn't really a thing. Mental health really
I was also thinking this poor girl needs therapy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what Ajihad said. She's like, she's not okay, but she will recover. Where it's like, her body may recover, but she's not gonna be okay. Like, that was a horrible thing to experience. So I also I don't know if Paulini meant it in that way, but I appreciated that even just like the smallest hint of, mentally she will not be okay. Yeah. Like, she's not okay kind of thing.
But I like that, he tells, they share, like, Eragon. We also communicate that, like, Eragon's gonna trust him because he shares all the details that Ajihad is asking for. And then Ajihad shares, like, the lore, what's going on, how we've gotten to this point, and then, like, where everyone's things. One thing I want to clock is that when he mentions the Cull and the Urgles at one point in time, and he refers to them as monsters.
Yeah.
So just the ongoing, let's clock.
The ongoing.
And then he says, oh God, where did he describe it? The fact that Gabertorix has aligned himself with these monsters, or what he could have promised them. It's bad.
Yeah. I don't know what he could have promised them. To have, like, this many work with him.
Oh, for sure. I think there's one point in time where he describes, like, the Gabertorix is going to form an army to attack the Varden. Yeah. Made up of men and monsters.
Yeah, because he also said, because I think he was trying to, he's like, why is this happening? Like, he's taking all these events, all these facts that have been presented to him, and he's like, why is this happening? To attack us. Yeah. And all we can do is wait. Yep. And sucks.
So we know the king that has been mentioned. It's the dwarven queen. Yep. The queen we heard about forever ago was the elven queen, Islandzadi.
I think it's Islandzadi.
Yeah, I switched the Z and the D.
Yeah, Islandzadi, I believe.
And that's cool. We know Arya can do magic. Yep. And I think that's interesting. The fact that they're like, oh yeah, she can do magic. I would have thought default elves could all do magic. And he says, oh, it's because she can do magic that she was chosen for this. Suggesting that, much like in human, like, elves are inherently magical, but perhaps the ability to wield that magic, to manipulate it.
I was going to say, like, that, and also maybe just, like, the affinity and how strong her magic can be also, kind of thing.
So we find out that the elves have been pretty pissed about Arya's disappearance. They have completely cut contact with the Varden.
Which is not great.
Because the Varden is in desperate need of, like, struggling. He needs, like, the king is giving his support, but not all. But there are, like, 12, there are 13 clans. Yeah. And they have it's a bit like there's a dwarven king, and he is king of them all, and then his own clan, and then there are 12 other clans. Yep. And not all of them are on board with this. So it's a little bit more like a presidency.
Yeah.
Almost like where there's like these other states where it's like you do have to keep them happy in order to maintain power over it all. And if he just throws his weight totally behind the Varden and the other clans decide they don't like that anymore, that's going to break bad.
Absolutely. And I think, do they mention the King of Serta as well providing, or is that a conversation with Orc?
Maybe a conversation with Auric. I'm
Okay.
not remembering Serta being mentioned just yet. He was trying to figure out who's a fan of Eragon and who's not. The Varden and Ajihad, hell yeah. The king, yes. The clans, no.
Yep.
The elves don't know he exists because they've shut off contact, so they don't know that there's a rider.
Yep.
And we also know that there's a message that they got off of one of the Cull leaders that they can only read part of.
Yeah, because it's been like burned and bloodstained and missing.
They don't know what the plan is, but they do know Galbatorix is planning something. And essentially, it's just, this is a lot of us finally getting, hey, do you remember that conversation we overheard Brom having forever ago?
Yeah.
We're just like, what is all this? This is all of this.
Yeah. It's definitely like filling in the holes in a way that is like, and again, Paolini does a good job of this. It fills in the holes in a way that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like trying to figure out like how long ago was that, because the split in my book is at the Worshippers of Helgrind.
It was definitely before that.
Yeah. Like it was in Theron's Ford.
Yep, Theron's Ford.
So that was in my book, page 162 is when we got to Theron's Ford. And this is page 608.
Yep.
So
we got there eventually, folks.
Near 500 pages later, we finally get what, again, I feel like Eragon could have been told.
Yeah.
But we finally get it. And from Ajihad, who's super cool.
Yep.
And I like Ajihad.
Yep.
So Eragon gets back Zarok.
Yep.
And he also gets back Brom's ring.
Yes.
I really liked that.
Yeah, I do really like that he's able to keep Brom's ring.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that Ajihad does address Saphira as well. Like, she's been quiet this whole time, and he does like address her specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how like they're just staring at each other.
Yep.
And then he looks down and he's like, "It's an honor to meet you." And she's like, "He'll do."
Yep. He says, "Do not think I have forgotten you, O mighty dragon. I have said these things as much for your benefit as Eragon's. It is even more important that you know them, for to you falls the task of guarding him in these dangerous times. Do not underestimate your might, nor falter by his side, because without you, he will surely fail."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll do. Tell him I am impressed with both Tronjheim and with him. The Empire is right to fear him. Let him know, however, that if he had decided to kill you, I would have destroyed Tronjheim and torn him apart with my teeth."
And it's like, yeah, that tracks.
He was surprised by the venom in her voice, but he relays it. Ajihad looked at her seriously. "I would expect nothing less from one so noble. But I doubt you could have gotten past the twins."
I know, she's like,
Yeah.
the twins.
And then Eragon's like, "Hey, they must appear stronger, but you should know a rider's dragon strengthens his magic beyond what a normal magician might have. Brom was always weaker than me because of that. I think in the absence of riders, the twins have overestimated their power."
Yep. And I like what Ajihad says to that.
Brom was considered one of our strongest spellweavers. Only the elves surpassed him. If what you say is true, we may have to reconsider a great many things.
Yep.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
I love him being like,
just humbling a bit.
Humbling's like, ooh, shit. Like, and like the twins are probably very
powerful.
But like, there aren't any writers to demonstrate what that true, like, Arcania really taps into. What that true, because dragons are magic.
Yes.
They are inherently magic.
Yep.
And their presence makes them stronger. And Brom sounds like he was stronger than the twins.
Yeah, it just in that regard.
But Eragon's like, yeah, Brom's weaker than me because he didn't have his dragon anymore.
Yep.
And it's like, and Ajihad's like, oh shit.
Yeah, right?
Wait, what?
I also think
shit.
that also brings a thing, because I'm like, if it kind of brings a little doubt in my head, and I honestly don't remember if this is talked about later, but it makes me wonder if Brom could hold up to the twins and Eragon is stronger than Brom.
I think stronger in raw power, but not quite in the, like he doesn't
skill.
have the technical skill.
Absolutely. But it also makes me think, why was it that Eragon struggled so much fighting off the probe if he would be stronger? And that makes me think, I wonder if it was both of them attacking.
Maybe.
So that may, because I'm like, if Eragon could face off one of the twins, because he's stronger than Brom, and Brom is just based on that.
But Eragon's never been trained how to do that.
That's true. It's very true.
Because Murtagh successfully fended him off.
Yeah.
It was hurting him, but he could do it.
Yeah.
Eragon couldn't do that, period.
He hasn't been really,
because
that's fair.
the thing we've critiqued Brom on, is that he didn't train he told him about it,
Yeah.
but like
Didn't
never
really
trained.
train
The one time
Eragon.
it came up was when they had to contact each other, and Eragon's like, oh shit, I gotta keep him out.
He wasn't trained.
Yeah,
to
so
do
they
that.
like did a lot of stuff, but they never practiced that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
But
fair.
we I think we're close to wrapping, but we
Yeah.
skipped over a thing where they mentioned Eragon told him about the shade. He's like, oh yeah,
Oh,
Murtagh
yeah.
killed him. And he's like, no, he didn't, because you had to cut out a shade's heart.
Yeah, you have to stab a heart.
We get the shade's name, which is great.
Yeah.
And I love it. He's like, what of his sword? Did you see it? Did it have a long scratch on the blade? Yes, said Eragon, surprised. How did you know? Because I put it there while I was trying to cut out his heart. And I was out loud like, holy shit, Ajihad, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
I put it there while I was trying to cut out his heart. I think what I said out loud was, Ajihad is so metal.
Yeah, and I feel like we clocked that scratch because I feel
Yeah.
like it's brought to our attention.
Cool. Yeah.
And so it was like a little foreshadowing, a little
Like
bit
it makes
how
it-
it
yeah.
was how it was described. So
Mhm.
it was like, all right, this will
Uh,
come up again.
So his name is Durza.
Yep, Durza.
And I'm just like, anyway, I wanted to say like trying to cut out his heart. It's really good.
Yep.
The chapter wraps with him summoning Auric in there and being like, okay, I gotta
Ooh,
deal
yeah.
with your insubordination, because one of the twins has not stopped bitching about it.
Yep.
And Auric's like, okay, well, here's the thing. Like, the Cull were almost all around. They were shooting arrows at the dragon, Eragon and Murtagh, but the twins did nothing.
Yep.
And they refused to open the gates, even though we could see Eragon shouting the opening phrase on the other side of the waterfall.
Yeah.
They refused to take action when Eragon did not rise from the water. Perhaps I did wrong, but I couldn't let a rider die.
Yep. And I like how Eragon adds, like, he's like, I couldn't have made it out of there by myself.
Yeah, I couldn't have. I wasn't strong enough to swim out of the water. Like, I would have drowned. He says, like, later, why did you oppose them? Like, speaking to when, like,
Yeah.
Auric called the bald man off from
Yeah.
probing Murtagh. It wasn't right for them to force their way into Murtagh's mind, but I wouldn't have stopped them if I had known who he was. No, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Though it would have been simpler if you hadn't. It isn't our place to force ourselves into people's minds, no matter who they are.
Yep.
That, like, honor that Ajihad has, where
honor.
he's like,
Yes.
Auric is like, this is wrong. Oh, but I don't trust Murtagh, so maybe I would have let him if I known who he was. And Ajihad's like, no, you were right.
No.
Regardless of it, could honestly, I think Ajihad may have been like, it could have been Galbatorix himself, and I still wouldn't believe in forcing our way into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we cut his head off for sure.
For sure.
But like, this is like every choice Pauline has made with their first scene with this character is like communicating to us that this is an honorable leader.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that we can use those like small things to determine that this is a reliable narrator in this sense. Like
Yep.
what he is telling Eragon is as true as it can be. And perhaps the things he says may be colored by his own perceptions, but he isn't leaving things out to
Yes.
try to manipulate Eragon. In
Yes.
fact, he's like, oh, I hope you like would support us. If not, like we might have to kill you. But like
Yeah.
I would hope but he also is, like I said, like in the synopsis, he's like, Eragon, you need to try to maintain your freedom. It's your most
Yes.
powerful asset.
Yep.
But you do not have to fall in line
Yep.
the way every other person, like even the elves, the dwarves, humans, like everyone, the Urgles, everyone has to throw in their lot with someone more powerful. You don't have to.
Yeah. Like, as a writer,
Mhm.
your freedom, again, is your most, like, highest aspect. Yep. Or,
Yep.
yeah.
And so essentially, usually it's like you get the death sentence for such insubordination.
Yeah.
But you considering the circumstances, it'll be mitigated. You are removed from active service and are forbidden to engage in military activities under my command.
Yep.
Do you understand? Furthermore, in the absence of your regular duties, I appoint you Eragon and Saphira's guide for the duration of their stay. But I like this. When he recovers from his trip, take him to the training fields. They are expecting him, said Ajihad, a twinkle of amusement in his eye.
Yep.
Twinkle of amusement. Hello. I love this character.
Yeah,
I trust him. I'm so
good.
jazzed.
He's
so
so
cool.
good.
He's one cool dude.
He's so cool. You really,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
And the last thing, like Eragon asks about seeing Arya, no one is allowed to visit her. You will have to wait until she comes to you.
Yep, which
And
I
I
like.
love that too.
Yep.
No, she will decide who she sees and when.
Yep.
Good
And then-
chapters.
yeah.
A lot, not like, again, like the set design and descriptions are really cool in
Yes.
the Glory of Tronjheim. It's just like not a lot for us to really dissect.
Yeah, the Ajihad's conversation was a lot more
Yeah.
to like dive into. Absolutely.
But it's cool. It also like this is our first proper introduction to like dwarves and what they can do, and the fact that they created the city is really cool. And then we've met Auric, and he's really cool.
Yep.
But we also understand like the dwarves aren't all going to be as cool as Auric.
Yeah.
Because they have this history with the dragons, the dragon riders,
Yep.
and like their opinions of like, listen, the riders are the reason that Galbatorix is in power anyway. We don't trust him.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Really cool aspects.
And we got a lot of like, I feel like we have not felt like we've known what's been going on for really, like, ever since Brom died. I feel like we, obviously, Eragon and Saphira have been like, we really don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going on because Brom was our source of, like, information. And, like, Murtagh could give us a little bit, but not in the same way. So now I feel like we understand the game board again.
Yeah.
Like,
and I feel like that's what Eragon mentions, too, right? He's like, ever since, like, I think he even mentions, like, since Brom died, he's like, he actually fully understands, if I'm remembering the chapter right. I feel like Eragon's like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah, this is all the pieces that play. Like, I think, they've been like on the outskirts and like have not, like, everything's been shrouded. Like, we haven't known where anybody stands or what we like what's going on. And Ajihad, I think, showed us like, here's all the pieces at play, and even some we weren't aware of, like the Urgles being there and like preparing to attack. And yeah, it's good.
Very good. Very good chapters.
Yep. I have a writing tip.
Yes.
I think it's like going back to our conversation about being in character descriptions, being aware of avoiding blank as default.
Yeah.
So like every character's just like complexion and skin color should be sort of, not in like crazy detail, but just like if a character is like Caucasian, you can describe them as such. Like you can describe characters and what their complexion looks like. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, because not every black character should be described as they had warm mahogany, because a person's complexion is going to be different. And that can lead to like, or like hair and stuff like that. Like there's not a lot of description going on, and sometimes you can just have like no description and just leave it to like names or things like that. But I think being aware of that habit of, when do you only describe skin color when someone is not white? And that being the thing. Do you only describe certain gender indications when a character is not cis? Right? Like those kind of things. Do you only describe certain like sexual orientations when a character is not straight? Like, so being aware of I think we can all, as like creators and storytellers, step away from relying on blank as default. And just not, because there is no default. In a lived experience, in people, in our characters.
Agreed. I like it.
And then, what is the homework? I don't like calling it homework. Is it funny that I call it homework? Here's your essay question, kids.
Fun activity. That still feels.
Here's our take-home activity.
Take-home activity.
It's like trying to sound like the cool hip teacher.
The cool hip teacher.
I don't assign homework. It's just take-home activities.
Yeah,
But they are worth 40% of your grade if you don't turn them in.
They are worth 40% if you don't turn them in. Make sure your name's on the top.
Yep. Have we asked for just fictional cities?
We haven't.
I think we did like settings and things like that. But cool, like, listen, Tronjheim is pretty cool. So,
I would say cool cities.
Cool fictional cities. I like Site One. Oh, you know, like, I like Refuge. I like the city of Refuge from good. Adventure Zone. It's this little magical western town. And maybe I like it because of all the places we spend in Taz. We spend the most time there because of the nature of that particular arc. But I like it, and I can feel it, and it feels very real to me when we're there.
I think
and I'm not a Western girly. I do really like Refuge.
I definitely feel the same. The city that I need to look it up. Okay, so this city is not cool. It's actually pretty disgusting and like not great, but the way it is described is what I love. So I'm going to refer to the Six of Crows city, the main city that it takes place, Ketterdam. Where it is the most despicable city. It's basically like I don't want to refer to it as Los Angeles or Las Vegas, but it's almost like Las Vegas if Las Vegas was also like awful, like, and floating on the ocean or like on a port. I don't know. I think it is. I think Ketterdam floats. It's a port town, It's around, I believe it's on an island
Uh-huh.
or it's floating or something like that. I don't honestly, it's been a hot minute since I read Six of Crows. But what I like about it is that it feels real. Is that it feels like a real city. Like all like the glamour and
Mhm.
the bad part and like what goes on in it feels real. And
Nice. Yeah.
that's what I appreciate about it, because it definitely feels like a port town that's run as like, oh, there's a bunch of brothels and gaming
Mhm.
and what is it, gambling and all these things,
Gambling.
but there's also a shit ton of gangs that you have to be really fucking careful about.
Mhm.
And there's a city and a watch and this, that, and the other thing. So
yeah.
it feels real. So I'll
Nice.
stick with Ketterdam.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite cities. There's a lot of cool ones. I'm sure we could go on and on with more, but
Oh,
we'll
absolutely.
keep it. The episode's running a little long. But
Yeah.
I do want to share a couple listener feedbacks from us.
Absolutely.
We asked a question ages ago about magic systems.
Yes.
And Kelsey sent us a message. It's sorry for a super long, it's too long for Instagram message. Oops. And they did say afterwards, you know what, feel free to paraphrase since it's so long. And I said, nope, I'm going to read the whole thing verbatim. So that's what's about to happen here. To gently bully one of my friends.
Yeah.
The first system that came to mind is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy because it combines internal and external magic resources. The magic user has an affinity for burning metals, but also has to put in the work to practice and acquire said metals. In this way, the metals are like spell components, which creates an economy of magic. Resource scarcity leads to higher demand and value for certain elements and their corresponding abilities. The main character has to use what they have sparingly, and the payoff is much greater for it. Also, the cost of magic acts as a check to balance out wizard duels and keep them interesting. For example, I love the magic in Freerin. It takes years of experience to build up the mana and fuel magic. In this world, magic users are constantly stacking themselves up against each other's perceived mana levels. This leads to really cool moments where strategic choice to appear as strong as possible or perhaps weaker than you really are has huge ramifications for the outcome of the duel. Other wizards frequently underestimate Freerin and Fern for using such basic defense spells, but ultimately Freerin and Fern win the battle of attrition because their opponents waste all their mana on flashy combat moves.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Have you seen Freerin
I don't
after
think
Journey's
so.
End?
I
Oh,
don't.
Beyond Journey's End. Loose! It beats ass!
I feel like I've heard of it, or I've
I'm
seen
sure-
like
I'm
clips
sure
of it.
I've talked about it. It's very
yeah.
popular. So I'm sure you've seen
Yeah,
clips, and I'm sure I've
absolutely.
mentioned it on
Yeah.
this show. I didn't talk about it in Magic Systems. That was on me for dropping the ball. I absolutely should have mentioned Freerin, because it is one of the best Magic Systems I have seen in a long time, where it treats magic as a science,
Yeah.
but simultaneously keeping it as an art form. Listen, even if you're not into anime, if you're listening to this podcast, you will like Freerin Beyond Journey's End.
Ooh.
It's very fun. It is
Very cool.
I got an indie episode. Essentially, it is about a very ancient elf who was a member of the Great Heroes Party
Yeah.
when their party went and defeated the Demon King.
Okay.
And then it cuts to after the hero has passed away, and this elf realizing that even though that journey was only 10 years of her life, and at the moment she figured, this is only 10 years, I'm 1,000 years old, this
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Realizing that when this was someone who was her friend, and when
Yeah.
they are gone, actually being like, hold on, that meant so much to me,
Yeah.
and kind of reflecting on why it meant so much to her, and continuing and taking the fact that did matter and opening herself up to additional possibilities and encounters with other people,
Yeah.
and seeing her journey and teaching her own apprentice how to use magic, and how the world is like I love Freerin so much. I love
Yeah.
how it's like that's post the hero dying and demons are starting to be a problem again.
Yeah.
And it's because they heard that the great hero Heinrich died and they thought they could just step.
Yeah.
But the thing is they can't.
Yep.
Because it's not just you meet so many characters who were inspired by the heroes and
Yeah.
their journey. And it's like the world is such a better place because of it.
Of
Because
what
you have all these
happened.
characters that are like, they will never get to a point where the Demon King or the demons have the power they did before. Like, they're
Yeah.
a threat. They need to be dealt with. But it's never going to get that bad again, because even though this hero is gone, his legacy exists
Yeah.
and has inspired so many people. Like, they're the apprentices, and those,
Yeah.
they are there to protect the world in their
Yeah.
stead. And I think, and hasn't been a huge like part of it, but it's a reoccurring theme that I
Yeah.
find so lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to our free run podcast. I'm surprised free run hasn't. I think the reason free run hasn't been a spark of inspiration is because I think we recorded a bunch of episodes, so it went for a while without us recording.
Yeah.
In that time, I watched all of free run.
Yeah.
And so, while that one of my sparks of inspiration wasn't free run, but I'm sure it will
It'll
be at
come
some
up.
point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Formally. But so that's your homework. That's your take home assignments. Go ahead and tell us your favorite fictional city, and then go watch free run. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, she's Lucy Hart,
And she's Darien Smart.
and this was Eragon.
And back again.